is time for a brand new round of box office predictions. Dewey's excited. The summer movie season continues, and the question remains, will any of the new releases be big money makers at the box office? Before we get into the new crop of movies, we've got some Fantasy Movie League recapping to do, despite the fact that Dewey wants to hide my list of names here, which would be terrible because we've got a long list of people with the perfect lineup. 8 players in total in the prediction with Perri League. They are $billion Cineplex, Devil, XD's Toy Story Force Cinema Forum, Delmar Dennis, Valhallaplex, Cherub Croissant, the Majestic Starkplex, and the Force A. Nathan's. Job well done, guys. This is how you kick off a brand new season of Fantasy Movie League. Now to get into the top 5 rankings. I had another 5 for 5 last weekend, but yet again, some of my numbers were way off, and in particular, it was because some of the new releases just severely underperformed. The Secret Life of Pets did top the charts, but it came in way under expectations, making just $46.7 million. And the same is true of Dark Phoenix, which took the 2 spot with a franchise low of $32.8 million. On the bright side, though, Aladdin held pretty strong, dropping just 42.4%, making another $24.7 million in its 3rd weekend in theaters. Then, back to the negative side of things, we've got Godzilla King of the Monsters, which fell a whopping 67.7% and made just $15.5 million in its 2nd weekend of release. And then finally, Rocketman came in at number 5 and took another $13.8 million. Moving into this new round of predictions, I've already got a pretty hot take with my number 5 pick. One might suspect that Aladdin is going to wind up in this spot, especially given the popularity of the X-Men film franchise, but when I take into account Dark Phoenix's slow start last weekend, and then also the fact that Aladdin has proven it's got legs, that makes me want to drop Dark Phoenix all the way down to number 5 this weekend. Let's look at another big summer release that kind of flopped, and take a look at 2017's The Mummy. That one, when it opened up, it made $32 million, very similar to Dark Phoenix, and then weekend 2 dropped 54.2%. I think that's a very realistic path Dark Phoenix could be heading down right now, but I actually think, given how current ticket sales are looking, it might drop even more than that, maybe something like 60%, and if that's what winds up happening, Dark Phoenix is only going to make $13 million its 2nd weekend in theaters. And now, of course, I am giving that 4 spot to Aladdin this time around. I think it could be in for a pretty big hit next weekend when Toy Story 4 enters the game, but right now, I don't see why Aladdin couldn't hold just as strong this weekend as it did last weekend. Again, a 42% drop last weekend, and this time around, again, looking at those ticket sales and how strong it seems to be holding, I kind of want to bring the number down ever so slightly to an even 40%, and if that's what it winds up losing, Aladdin is going to top Dark Phoenix with $15 million of its own. And now here's where we get into some of our new releases for the weekend, because at number 3 this time around, I've got Shaft, and I actually think this one could be in pretty good shape this weekend, given the fact that its reported production budget is $30 million. Looking at a non-MCU release for Sam Jackson, I look back at the movie that came out in August of 2017. It's The Hitman's Bodyguard. When that one opened up, it made $21 million, which seems like a very real possibility for Shaft, if not the exact number I think it's going to wind up making. So that's where I stand. Shaft opening up with $21 million this weekend. And now it's on to the final 2 spots, and I've got a little disclaimer for this because I think that Men in Black International and The Secret Life of Pets 2 could wind up very close to one another, but for the sake of my predictions, I think there's a better chance that Men in Black is going to open up bigger than what Secret Life of Pets 2 is making weekend 2. So I am going to give that movie the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to put Secret Life of Pets 2 in the 2 position. I know this one probably didn't have the strong start that the studio was hoping for, but I think its weekend 2 hold could be fairly strong. And in looking for, thanks, Stu, in looking for a good comp for this one, I landed on the movie How to Train Your Dragon 2. When that one opened up in the summer of 2014, it took a very similar amount. It wound up making $49.5 million. Moving over to weekend 2, it dropped about 50%. And even if I want to throw one more comp in the mix right now, we could look at Cars 3. That one opened up a little higher, $53.7 million, and then it wound up dropping $55.2 million its 2nd weekend in theaters. So if I want to take into account that Secret Life of Pets 2 had an opening total a little less than both of those, I could bring the percent change down to, let's say, 47%, and that would mean the movie is making another $25 million this weekend. And as Dewey kind of hulks out and wrecks the entire set behind me, let's move on to number one. And of course, it's the big new release, Men in Black International. First off with this one, looking back to last weekend with Dark Phoenix, it had a lot going against it. It had the production problems, the bad reviews, and then on top of that, the overcrowded marketplace, especially with such a juggernaut coming our way in Toy Story 4. I think very similar problems could be plaguing Men in Black International's opening debut here. Tracking reports are giving a range of something like $30 to $40 million, and given the fact that ticket sales aren't looking too hot right now, the buzz doesn't feel strong, I want to come in on the very, very low end of that range, and I think I'm going to come in rock bottom of that range and say Men in Black International is going to kick off its run with $30 million this weekend, but don't be surprised if it winds up in the high 20s. But that's what I'm going with right now, $30 million, and that brings us into our recap. I've got Men in Black International topping the charts with $30 million. Then it's The Secret Life of Pets 2, taking $25 million for its second weekend in theaters, followed by Shaft, which is kicking off its run with $21 million. Then it's Aladdin taking the fourth spot with $15 million, and then Dark Phoenix falling to number 5 with $13 million. That is a wrap on my box office predictions for the weekend, but of course it's your turn now. Hit the comment section below, share your top 5s and the numbers right there, and then head on over to Fantasy Movie League. We've got weekend 2 of the summer movie season upon us, so lock those lineups. So curious to see what happens at the box office this weekend, especially leading up to Toy Story 4. I think that one is going to be huge next weekend, but before we get there, we got to wrap up this edition of the box office predictions with some Patreon shoutouts. Another great group of 6 right here. They are Charles, Dylan, Wessel, Steve, James, and Rick. Guys, thank you all so much for your continued support. It is so greatly appreciated by the both of us, James and Rick. I'll be talking to you soon. You guys all rock, though. And thank you to everybody out there for watching these videos. I love making them. I hope you enjoy watching them. Please like and share this one. And I'll see you next week to see how we all did on our box office predictions.